The 2026 Giro d'Italia route has been revealed. It is a very interesting one with a 40-kilometer long time trial and, well, as usual, a very, very heavy third week. This is Domestique Cycling Podcast, and I will be going through the route together with Ethan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, Bram. It's another exciting year ahead of Grand Tour racing, and we have the Giro coming up. We've had the Tour route already, so yeah, let's see what we got in store for the Giro.
All right, I'll just break down the short numbers so we got that out of the way. We're starting off Friday, May the 8th, and ending on Sunday, May the 31st. Of course, worst kept secret in cycling, the Giro is going to start off in Bulgaria, where it will start off in Nesebar, and it will run for 3,459 kilometers with one individual time trial, 8 sprint stages, 6 hilly stages, and 6 mountain stages, 3 rest days, and then, of course, 1,000 meters of elevation gain in total across those 21 stages. Oof, that's a lot.
It is a lot. I mean, it's not enough, a lot the same amount of climbing as last year, but I mean, the mountains are looking dangerous, I think, especially the second to last stage, stage 20. If we want to go and talk about that straight away, I think that's the one which everyone's going to be waiting for.
Yeah, but even like you can start with stage 20, but I think you also have to start on. You also have to talk about stage 19 because that is also extremely hard. I think stage 19 is the third 5-star stage with 5,000 meters of elevation gain. Yeah, I think the Passo Duran, the Forcella Storlanza, my Italian here is really coming through, the Passo Giao and the Passo Falsarego, sorry. And then a short mountain finish on the Piani di Pezze. A lot of new climbs, or climbs that I haven't been super familiar with, but that is a hard day.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the conditions you can have in the Italian, like late spring, early spring kind of thing. So it could prove to be the decisive moment of the Giro, and it depends if Vingegaard, Evenepoel, if they all line up, maybe someone like Del Toro or Almeida, and that is going to be a real showdown, especially with stage 20 coming into play as well. Does someone want to go all in on stage 19 and then try and just get over the line in stage 20? But that's the issue, I think, for me, really. I think stage 20 could make stage 19 a bit passive. I don't know what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Just backloading these Grand Tours, of course, it's becoming more and more common, especially at the Giro. But it does kind of mean, like, do you want to really put all your chips on the table for this stage 19? I probably wouldn't, especially with what's coming up in stage 20. Just give that a look as well. I don't have the full climbs list. Have you seen that?
No, not yet. I think maybe stage 19, we could maybe even chalk it down for a breakaway straight away, no?
No. I mean, I think that will really depend on the gaps in the GC group. But I mean, it is possible. Like we had it in the 2025 Giro d'Italia as well.
It depends, though, I think.
The Finestra.
If it is like really, really heavy rain or things like that, as in that time of the year, you could see maybe people take it very passive and things like that and don't want to maybe lose a Giro on a dangerous descent, for example.
That's true. But also, we've already mentioned it now with Evenepoel and Vingegaard. If they are going to Giro and they also want to do the Tour, they kind of want to do the Giro on the most economical way as possible. If both of them are going at the same time, I don't think either of them are going to be able to do it economically. I think there will be a big fight. But if one of them is there, they'll probably just want to cruise and take it easy. For Vingegaard, that's going to be a bit easier than for Evenepoel. But, if they still want to do the Tour and they go full out on May 29th and May 30th at the end of a Grand Tour, that's going to be a tough recovery towards the Tour de France.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see actually. And backloading these type of mountain stages for me personally, I mean, I think you should split them apart because then you'd have more enticing Grand Tour racing, wouldn't you, Bram? Compared to, for example, I mean, the Tour is kind of doing that next year a little bit. Well, this year, yeah, 2026. Sorry.
Yeah, they're spreading it out a little bit more. Although the last weekend you still have that Alpe d'Huez madness.
Yeah,
So the last weekend, like from Friday, it's still super backloaded, and we're basically seeing the same thing happen here. But it is just a matter of, is this like last week? Because we haven't talked about whatever comes before this. Is this last week too hard for people who want to combine with the Giro, with the Tour de France? And I would say it's definitely a little bit problematic. The Tour does start a little bit later this next year. I think it starts on July the 4th, and the Giro ends on May the 31st. So that's a pretty short recovery period uh, after this tough of a last week.
yeah, definitely for sure. It's going to be interesting. If I was Evenepoel in his shoes right now, I don't know if I would do the Giro if I was him personally. But obviously, as your head of propaganda for Remco Evenepoel, I don't know what you think there, bro.
I mean, he's already said it's 99% sure that he will do the Tour, but there is, of course, the 40-kilometer time trial. I think it's that's there just to give him a reason to go. It's in Tuscany. It's 40.2 kilometers. It's pretty flat.
But the issue is
I
there's a
I
big
think he
issue
should
for me.
do it. I
Big
think he
issue.
should do it.
But like all the time he gains in that 40-kilometer time trial, yeah, it's gonna come falling down now in those last two mountain stages. Really, if it's Vingegaard specifically.
Yeah, but you already have to look at what comes before. And we're kind of doing this in really weird order, I would say. But on stage 7, we're finishing up Blockhouse.
Blockhouse, yes.
So potentially, if there is a Vingegaard Evenepoel battle, we would expect in the current like power balance that Vingegaard has already taken some time on Evenepoel there, right? I
Yeah,
don't
you
think
would
that.
assume so.
So by stage 10, which this time trial is on, Evenepoel already has to make up some time and then try and extend it to protect for the last week. I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see the teams announcing whether or not they will go to the Giro with this type of terrain. If, like, for example, Vingegaard announces within a week saying that he'll go, will Remco then say, okay, probably not? Will he sort of dodge the duel? Because I think for both of them, doing the duel is going to make it a lot more intensive and probably not as good for their Tour de France chances.
Yeah, you don't want to burn all your matches for the tour because obviously the tour is a tour. But for the time trial, I mean, I think Evenepoel could absolutely just annihilate everybody. You see in the tour, obviously. I think God's time trial actually in 2025 was not the best, really. You had the Vuelta one where Almeida could have really picked up a lot of time. Obviously, it's like if buts and maybes if the time trial was its original length.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I mean, that could have been dangerous if Vingegaard there, but it wasn't, obviously. So,
Yeah, it's true that his time trial in 2025 hasn't been of the
and
level that it was before.
you had the
Um,
stage four time trial as well in the tour, I think, as well, where he lost significant time. It was the early time trial, wasn't it? Yeah, he lost a lot
yeah, I
of
don't think it
time.
was stage 4. It was like,
It was a
yeah,
stage five,
stage
five or
5,
six,
yeah, something like
around
that.
there. Yeah, he lost significant time there, and it was proper like on the ropes in boxing terms.
Yeah, still fall back after that though. Um, just kind of zooming out of this potential duel between Vingegaard and Evenepoel. I just want to go back to week 1 because of course you have the GC battle, but there's also just sprinters battle. It looks like there will actually be quite a bit of chances for the sprinters in this Giro with 8 stages that are kind of marked out as sprinter stages. You've already got that on stage 1, which is pretty much a flat stage along the Black Sea coast. So first Maglia Rosa is up for grabs for a sprinter.
Yeah, I mean, the entire Grand Potenza really is for the sprinters. So,
Mm,
and it's going to be nice to see, really. I mean, in another country, Bulgaria, it looks like a nice country. What you see online and things like that. The coast specifically, it will be very nice to showcase the country and things like that. And I think you specifically with the Giro, they do it quite well with the way they showcase actually the countries. It's in Albania in
mm,
2024. You
true.
had where else? You had Hungary, didn't you? That year, which was it Girmay won a stage? I think in Hungary or not?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
That already slipped my mind.
I think it was. I hope I'm correct. Well, yeah, I mean, for the sprinters, do they go all in on the Giro because they've seen the Tour route, and it's a bit
Yeah, the
obvious
tour is not for sprinters at all, is it?
they're a bit mean to the sprinters in this modern day and age. So yeah, I mean, you could see a nice battle. Maybe Merlier goes to the Giro, Milan as well. So yeah, Pedersen. I mean, what do you do with Pedersen? Does he go and defend his points jersey from 2025? So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I think we've got basically 3 sprint stages to start off with. So that's instantly like a good reason to be there. And you know what? If you've got those 3 chances early on, even if you abandon in the middle of it, you can still go to the tour. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
who
curious
cares? You get
how the
to
teams are going to look at that.
who cares really? You get to wear a pink jersey if you win a
Mm,
stage there and at the start, or just have a good start really and see how it
yeah.
goes because it's just about surviving. And for a sprinter, really, that final week is going to be brutal. But if you're in a position to win the points classification, you got to go all in and try.
Yeah, and stage 18 is still expected to be a bunch sprint. You've got stage 21 in Rome, which is of course
Yep.
expected to be a bunch sprint.
I mean, that's getting
So
that got a little bit harder last year, didn't it? With that uphill kind of look it
the
had.
kick, yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice stage actually. I think
Yeah,
they're doing the
it was
same
a
again.
really nice change. It wasn't too hard for the sprinters, but it was just like hard enough to make it interesting to get some like to spread out the bunch a little bit more, like the twists coming into it. Also, just put everything on a line, which made positioning super important. Um, yeah, um, those first 3 opening stages, basically nailing them in for bunch sprints. After that, we've got a very long transfer and an extra rest day. So a rest day after 3 days of racing. It's not really a rest day as much as
It's
a
like
travel day to just get everyone from
point A to
Bulgaria
point B.
to Calabria, which is right on the south tip of the boot of Italy. So that's a long trip. But starting off again, it's a pretty gentle stage, I'd say. Also, probably a sprint stage. So stage 4, I'm guessing, is a sprint stage as well. And then stage 5, we'll see probably a break. Although it could still be a bunch sprint as well.
It depends on the amount of sprinters there, really, doesn't it? I think there's loads of
And
teams,
also,
loads of sprinter teams.
if the
So
first 4 sprints are won by the same person,
yeah,
the same team, then basically by stage 5, if they need help chasing,
no
a
one's
lot of
gonna
teams
help.
are already going to go like, hey,
Not our
you
problem.
guys are the big dogs here. Little trek if you're here with Milan. We're not going to help you anymore. So yeah, that's the kind of dynamic that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean as well. It's interesting to see what Sudal Quickstep do. Regarding the sprinting situation. Did he take Manier or did he take Merlier? I think you take
I'd
Manier.
take Magnier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be very interesting to see how Manier fares up against Milan. Obviously, Milan is one of the best sprinters in the world with Merlier and Philipsen as well. Does Philipsen go to the Giro after the tour being too tough in a way?
I think it kind of depends on like Philipsen is focusing more and more on classics, but it's not impossible to combine with the Giro, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
It
you
is
have to.
just really limiting the tour. And when it comes to Alpecin at the tour,
That's what they want.
besides Yeah, besides Phillips and Van der Poel, they still don't really have that much to show at the Tour. So they kind of still have to bring Phillips in. So does Phillips do a Giro Tour double? I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
I would.
maybe Phillipson also wants a little bit more variation in his season
Yeah,
because he's basically been doing the tour for how many years now? And he's still young. But
yeah,
yeah,
very, yeah.
it just seems maybe he wants to change it up a little bit, like his friend Pogacar, although he still has to do the tour. But we won't see Pogacar at the Giro, though. At least that's not expected. That would be quite the bombshell if that happened.
Imagine. I mean, they would have to write everything up and say bye bye to all our predictions and things like that because he probably win, won't he?
I mean, you would say that about any race that Pogacar starts at, but as Jurgensen said in his interview in the hot seat, like, you still got to try and beat him because if you just give up because he's lining up, then why do you even do all the
It's
preparation?
sport, really, though, things like that. I mean, you play for example, a small team playing a big team in a cup tie in football. You at least try because you never know what can happen. And
Hmm.
like you see in ways last year in cycling, you had obviously Absolute Gold Race where Skelmoser somehow, well, that was obvious he would actually beat Pogacar already because Skelmoser has a very strong sprint, in which people
I
met.
wouldn't have called it obvious. I think people really underrated the sprint, but you still got to go and do it. And after such a long classic that's been ridden quite hard, like how intrinsically strong your sprint is,
It's going to be,
didn't
I
matter that
think,
much.
Skelmoser for a little trek could be very interesting for the Giro. Also,
Yeah,
did he
if they're
go with
sending Ayuso to the tour, then
Ciccone as well? Did he want to send Ciccone there after the bad luck he had in 2025 when he was in actually a very nice position and obviously had that nasty incident? It was on like the 1 to Nova Mesto, wasn't it? I think
oh yeah, could be. But he has said that like Grand Tour GCs are just not for him. He's just
it was
always
just bad
has,
luck.
yeah, but also bad days. He said so. I personally wouldn't do GC with him, but just go for stages, go for the
KOM.
KOMs. They just get to take a couple easier days. Stage 6, let's go to that. We're going to Naples again for the fourth year in a
What?
row.
No way! It's like you have in the Tour de France with the Pole every year. It's like you always have. This is the pole stage in the Giro,
Yeah,
Naples.
it's looking to be pretty identical. The
Well,
final 25K are identical to the one from 2025. So it'll be familiar
it's
roads.
fun though. The Naples stage really every year that you see, don't you? I think you had the breakaway. I think what was it? Simon Clark didn't he win for a Naples one? Or did he? Did he?
Um,
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
yeah, I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago where it got really
It was
close,
yeah because
but I think the sprinters still took
yeah. And
that,
then you had
and I might be
Narvaez.
misremembering.
You had Narvaez who attacked and nearly went all the way for when he was at Ineos. And then obviously you had last year where it was a nasty, nasty crash midway in the stage in the weather. It took out Hindley
Mm,
and other notable
Groves won that.
riders. Groves won that. It was a neutralised stage, wasn't it? There was no GC times taken.
No, I don't think so because of the weather.
Yeah,
But
it was
yeah,
a.
that's a thing with the Giro. Weather can be
The
a
Naples one always,
real
always,
issue.
always will throw something up though. But generally, like
Mm,
the breakaway always stands a chance in that in those stages, specifically because of the way the finale is set out. It's very windy, twisty. Even the breakaway in the stage in 2025 could have had a chance. Obviously, you had that lunatic who ran on in the middle of the road, didn't you? Do you
yeah,
remember? I don't know if people remember that, but like that breakaway would have been going seriously, maybe even to the line if that didn't happen because it was nip
I
and
don't think it
tuck.
would have gotten
It was very.
that
It would have
far.
gone to the last kilometer at least.
Yeah. Well, probably, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But I think the area around Naples just makes for interesting racing, and as well going into the city. You always have some kind of sketchy roads that get a little bit slippery.
I think
I mean, the weather is going to play into that stage.
The
a lot, as it
2024
has.
one was something. If people want to go and rewatch that, that was quite a run into the city. You had the narrow roads. It was going under like railway tunnels and things like that. And that's how, yeah, and Narvaez just sent it on like a descent, I think, didn't he? And then got caught in the finale. You see, it's all in the brain.
Yeah, yeah, your memory on this, I hope, is accurate, but
It is
it
accurate. What
sounds
don't
very impressive.
I hope viewers can let me know in the comments if I've completely destroyed that. But
Yeah. Stage 7, we've already kind of mentioned. We're going to Blockhouse.
nice, yeah, nice one.
So stage 7, first GC battle, probably.
Well,
Although
yeah,
it could be a breakaway for the stage win, but at least we'll see. Hopefully, it's a good fight for the GC here. So we have the Rocamores approach, which averages 8.4% across 13.6 kilometers. And we also have the climbs to Roccaraso and the Passo San Leonardo. A proper hard stage, but I think we'll see a breakaway for the win.
If you
And
had
then
to choose
GC
someone,
fight behind it.
choose a type of rider who was to win the breakaway in that stage.
Oh, I mean, like 2 years ago, I would have said Palizzari, but he's not a breakaway rider anymore. Good
I would
question.
say,
What's yours?
I'm interested to see if he actually does the Giro. I mean, he's been on the cusp of top 10 with Polti, Meta, I visit Malta, and that is Picanzoli. I think if Picanzoli did the Giro in 2026, I would like to see him go for
But
some.
he's going to Visma, isn't he?
Yeah, he's transferred to Visma. That's a very, very good signing as well.
It's a proper good signing, but
Untapped
like,
potential.
yeah, but in that team, getting your own chances for a break, come on.
I think, well, yeah, it's a bit of a rogue one, I think. But if he wants to go, he has the talent to go. You have to look at riders from maybe Bahrain, Unox, and Lotto. Maybe even Joao Almeida could actually go on and take a breakaway, but maybe he's
It'll be
marked.
interesting to see how he goes. I don't think he would go to Giro. I think he's already said that he'd do Vuelta for 2026.
Oh, if I was him, I'd do the Giro, personally.
I bet he wants to do the Ardennes Classics. Like, he's already doing Liège at his age. That's kind of incredible. Like, first year pro, he's gonna do 2 monuments with Liège and Lombardia, and then also the Vuelta, he said.
Very excited, isn't it, for Belgian cycling and when another talent like that come through?
I mean, yeah, obviously, but it's also just interesting to see how he then goes in these like world tour races, because we've seen him in the U23s for so long now. It's been on everyone's radar for years, but like actually seeing him go up against the stars, kind of how we've had with Sexas this year.
Does Sexas now go to the Giro instead of the Tour? Because did he be patient with him and throw him in the deep end like they have done in a little bit in 2025 with Sexas?
I know, like, sending a Frenchman to the Tour is maybe appealing, but maybe they should like not send him to the Tour straight away. Like,
The Giro would be good for him, really.
keep the pressure off a little bit of the guy. I think that's super important. But yeah, sending him to Giro probably be good. It's also, from what we've seen so far, a really good course for him.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, with the way he was going in 2025, who knows what we can do? Definitely, maybe even. Do I want to say podium? I think I'm going to say podium if he went.
I'm just gonna let that sit there because yeah.
Think about it. Vingegaard will win if he goes. Evenepoel will either Evenepoel goes all in or just completely goes kaput, doesn't he? And then you have Del Toro or Almeida.
They might send Roglic as well. Who knows? Pelizzari.
Roglic, I would like to see Roglic. Imagine Roglic going out in style and is probably his last year going and winning his Giro. That would be quite cool.
Or does he go for another Vuelta? No, I think for that type of, there's a lot of potential names that could go to Giro. You have Del Toro as well, of course. With UAE, there's a lot of names. Yeah, Sexas Tour, Success to top 5
There's one thing
or
for
top
certain, though.
3,
I
maybe.
think that is the GC battle in this Giro is well. You have the win of probably Vingegaard. Surrounding the podium fight is going to be one hell of a fight. You have
Yeah, I mean,
Carapaz
I
could be
think just
there as
in
well.
general, um, I think that the Giro is going to be the more attractive Grand Tour, depending on weather, because that just might make it too tough. Yeah, it's looking super, super good.
Already exciting.
On stage 8, we have the typical Muro stage. A lot of short, sharp climbs. Before we go to the Apennines on a ski resort to Corno alla Scale. My Italian, it needs work. I'll try to work on it by the Giro. And there are some 14% slopes on there. So that could be a GC day as well. So stage 7 and stage 8 could potentially be GC days.
Yeah, anything above 13%. Well, for me, obviously doing some riding is, and for us, it gets a bit steep, doesn't it? And especially when you've already had a mountain test.
Sorry, that was stage 9, by the way, the one to the ski resort.
When you've already had the blockouts as a test, you are either going to be in a good place or you're going to be in the shit. So you're going to have to try and either recover your situation or maybe even defend the situation. And it's
Yeah, but
very
of course,
interesting.
with stage 9, you also, the next day you have a rest day. So typically a day before rest day, riders
Normally
go
race hard, yeah.
Yeah, they go all out because they can recover the next day. So that race up, what was it, 14% climb, they'll go hard. And there should definitely be separation. I don't think we're going to see a large group come to the top of that.
Vingegaard will definitely win that stage. He's seen in 2025 his acceleration on steep sections has been, it was nearly matching Pogacar, and that is pretty impressive, really. I think, especially in the first
it's
week.
not with same style of like aggression, but just
Like
if
it's
he
there,
rides his pace, he just rides
yeah.
away.
Yeah. Evenepoel
And
as
on
well. I
Bolo del
mean,
Mundo,
what does Evenepoel do? Evenepoel
hang on.
he can win though, because in those situations his sprint is a wicked sprint. But Vingegaard has also improved as well.
But
If it goes
I
to
think
1v1.
on this type of finish, it's not going to be a sprint. Like really, it's not. People are gonna try and attack, and then I think for Evenepoel, what he needs to do is just hang on, because after rest day, you've got that TT, and then he can do his thing.
But the issue is though, is there going to be enough fatigue in people's legs from the earlier stages? Because there's not that many difficult stages before that. You obviously have the blockhouse and you have the lots of short, like Basque kind of style hill stage.
Mm-hmm.
So then people may be more fresh than you could assume and have the ability to hang on.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, you're probably right. It really depends on who rides and what the weather is going to be like on this stage. It's to a ski resort, which typically means like broad roads, but if we're talking 14%, that doesn't shout broad roads to me. That just sounds painful. So we're at stage 10, which is a TT. I feel like we've already described that at length now and what we're expecting from that to happen.
Evenepoel rocket.
If he's there, he's going to win it and probably try and eke out a huge margin while doing it. Then we have stage 11, which is kind of a transitionary stage. It could be a sprinting stage, but I doubt it.
I would probably say.
And you have the same thing in stage 12, by the way.
You have like breakaways in those kind of stages, don't you?
Yeah, it's like middle of the second week now. This is where you give breakaways a chance, right?
Yeah, you have the Askren stage, don't you? Where he won in, I can only mention Nova Mesto, a fabulous break. Yeah, and then other riders just try their luck, don't you, really? And it's like playing roulette.
Yeah, but also I think like after the TT, after what happened before the rest day, the GC guys, they probably don't want to make this stage any harder.
Just chill.
Sprinters, it's probably just going to be too tough. It could still happen though, because there's a flat running on stage 12, but I don't think it's happening. And then on stage 13, you've got a pretty late climb for attacking. That could be an interesting stage, but I would also say breakaway.
Yeah, you probably. We're going to mention the breakaway a lot actually in the mid second to third week because
Yeah,
I mean
but I
that's the
think that's
nature of
also
Grand Tour
normal,
racing.
right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's the
but
nature of
that
Grand
second
Tour
week.
racing. Yeah, you see it obviously in past decades. You would have breakaways winning a lot more Grand Tour stages compared to modern day racing, where the GC guys just wipe the floor with them and the opportunities are gone.
Yeah, but you say that, but at the same time, there's a massive argument of whether or not UAE is too dominant and they want to win all the stages. If Pogacar's there, he's going to win 5 or 6 stages. But even at the Vuelta, when he wasn't there, how many stages did they win? 5?
Something like that, yeah.
So breakaways are still rare unless it's kind of from one of the GC group teams. If UAE's there, they might go for a lot of breakaways. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting evolution for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, I like to see the breakaways win more because it gives people the opportunity who are potentially not going to win a stage or, in Grand Tour racing, the opportunity to do so. And it's produced some, yeah, wonderful scenes. You had Verona last year, and that was a personal highlight, I think. That you couldn't write that, could you? Had his family at the finish line.
Yeah, that was prepared. Like it was totally unprepared, but it was beautiful. And also just after such a long career, just an amazing moment. Stage 14, we're back in with the GC guys. 4 major mountain passes in the Aosta Valley. Of course, we know that from junior racing. An incredibly tough area for racing. We've got 5,000 meters, or just under 5,000 meters of climbing. So you've got the Saint Barthélemy, which is 14.7 kilometers, the Aillon, which is 9.5 kilometers at 5%, and the Verognes, 13.8 kilometers at 7%, and a summit finish at Pilla, which is 16.6 kilometers at 7%. Ouch, that's a hard day.
This is where the Giro is either lost or, I mean, you can't be won there, but it can certainly be lost. You have to really, really be on your guard there. And
Mm.
these places that climb to the finishes at summer is very long.
Like all 4 climbs, they're just super long climbs. And I think with sort of the previous days of either being breakaways or like just being a little bit tougher sprint finishes, like the legs for the GC guys are either going to be quite fresh and they're going to really put effort into this, because also stage 15 is a flat sprint stage into Milan, so they don't have to think about that. They can go all out here, but it might also just be that the legs have kind of fallen asleep in the past couple of days because it hasn't been hard enough.
That's what happens with some riders, though. Like their legs just go into rest mode and then go poof. But then some people really like it where there's loads of like fatiguing the legs and performing that in those circumstances. So, yeah, I mean, that is, I think, out of all the stages, I think that's top 2 stages to watch in the entire Giro.
We've had a few of those now. I think the last weekend
But
is.
this one specifically, because of the length of the climbs, because you don't really see that type of stage where there's so many long climbs, and actually over 7% for that long that's enough to create some certain gaps.
Definitely. So I've already said it. Stage 15, last stage of week 2, and that's a flat stage into Milan. Just nailing it on for the sprinters. There's
Well, I mean, there was
basically no
rumors,
way that's a
wasn't there?
breakaway.
There was rumors, wasn't there, that there was going to be like a finish in Milano instead of Rome, but obviously Rome has got a deal still
Mm.
with RCS to have the finish in Rome. Milan has had some finishes in of this year, if I recall.
Yeah, I think so. The year that Theo Gegenhardt won, wasn't that in
Yes,
Milan?
yes, I think so. Yeah, and then not one afterwards was in Verona. No, was it?
Could be.
I think that was the
I
Hindley,
don't, I
the
don't
Hindley
remember.
one when it was a time trial,
Oh, could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could be.
and it was like in a really cool, like old Roman thing. It was quite nice. I mean, obviously
Uh,
the Rome, you want it like that, but the Rome finish, I mean, I like it. I don't know what you think, Bram. It's nice to see Rome. Rome is a nice place, but it's a bit under construction. It looks a bit like Brussels, and with all like with all the construction stuff you see.
well, you do have the saying that Rome wasn't built in a day. They're still working on it. It's
How many years later? Like 3,000 years later, or whatever it is, something like that. I don't know when was the Roman Empire? I don't know. I should have paid attention in
they're still
history.
working on it.
Yeah, I mean they're still building it now, man. So they can maybe they take inspiration from the Belgians, like everywhere does. You see with all the construction.
Yeah, I think with the Colosseum, it's like they're doing like a metro thing close by to it, and that's basically, well, if you're trying to dig a tunnel underneath Rome, you're going to find a lot of archaeological stuff, and that's going to delay your construction by a lot
It
because all
must
of
take
that
about
needs to be
50
excavated.
years. 50 years knowing that, man. I would not like to do that. But like you had
No,
the one that Cavendish won in 2023, wasn't it? Or, I think
yeah, the one the Giro the
it was like a couple one.
Roglic one.
Yeah, it was like a couple one. That was quite a nice one and quite poetic, really. You could just see in the background the Colosseum. But the
Mm.
one they had last year, I mean, at the Vatican, that was quite a experience.
Yeah, I think for the riders especially, that yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, you had Nick Schultz. I think we had him on the Hot Seat podcast earlier in the year, and he was talking about how much of an experience that was. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime experience for those riders.
Yeah, getting to meet the Pope during a bike race, that's not something you get to experience very often. Also, it's also just a beautiful location to visit if people haven't done that yet. The Vatican's just beautiful.
Out of the three though, Paris, Madrid, or Rome.
Madrid's not in the question,
It's a nice place, like, but it has none of the
but
tradition.
compared to Paris or Rome, nah. Come
I
on.
think
And no
you,
offense to all the Spanish people listening or watching. In my opinion, is like Rome is a more beautiful city. With Paris, what they're doing with the Montmartre in the course now does make it pretty interesting.
it is a
It's
nice
between
place.
those two.
The setting of Paris, I think, and the tradition of the entire tour, you choose Paris for
Mm.
the better out of the three.
Yeah, you'd probably pick Paris. I agreed on
It's,
that.
it's just, what's the word? As did you say, aura?
Iconic.
And you call it aura. I mean, you'd have, I think, like the 2024 Paris Olympics. Imagine they finished in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But also the Champs Elysees. Also, that's a flipping quite cool one as
Beautiful.
well. Yeah,
But hey, we're talking about the Giro route. Let's get back to that.
yeah.
So after the third and final rest day, we've got a stage that basically takes place entirely in Switzerland. We're leaving Italy for a day with a summit finish at Cari, which is 9 kilometers at 8.9%. So that's a GC day. Yeah, basically half of, if not more of the days in this last week are GC days. On stage 16, we're going into Trentino from Cassano d'Adda to Andalo, which, it also looks tough. I mean, it doesn't actually look that tough, but I think with the fatigue that's already built up, yeah, it's a proper hard stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be about fatigue resistance in this finale. Whoever has the most fatigue resistance has the potential to either, for example, go into the top 10 if you're a rider who's competing for that, or compete in the top 5 to the podium spots with behind the likes of Vingegaard. Obviously, Evenepoel could be I still think Evenepoel will cook a putt.
You're just a hater.
No, I'm not a hater. Like he goes all in to win, and that's what he does. You seen it in the Volta where he went all in and then went poof, and then went for the KOM jersey.
Why I like him. Always goes all in.
Yeah, I mean it's the
Um.
best.
All right. And then basically we're on to stage 18 now. Sprint finish, basically nailed on for that. And yeah, then we're back to the stage 19. Opened the podcast with this, but man, what a stage!
Like you mentioned earlier, it's on like climbs that I'm not really that familiar with. So yeah, I mean it's going to be quite an interesting sight, personally, to see the way these are raced, and also yeah the brutality of it and how, the way they're raced. What happens
Mm.
there? Maybe it's a bit passive, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the hardest stages in recent Giro history. I mean, that's saying something for the Giro. They do love a hard stage, but just considering the climbs they're going up, the Passo Joao alone is already flipping hard. At least stage 20 isn't as hard as it could be. They could have gone up to Zoncolan. It was right there. They've kind of chosen not to. But still, they're doing the 2 climbs up Piancavallo, which is 14.5 kilometers at 7.8%. So it's easier than the Zoncolan, I guess.
That's the issue, though, I think, really, with these Grand Tour stages. They make them too hard, yeah, and then riders are completely gone. So you have to find the sweet spot. Otherwise, then the races just become quite boring to watch.
Yeah, I agree. So, and then last stage 21. We've also talked about that at length by now, which is the Rome stage. Bunch sprint, let's face it.
Yeah, probably a broad sprint. That's what you have to say. Probably you don't have to say nailed on, because you said stage 18 earlier, nailed on broad sprint, and
You would
you
say it's
never.
not?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, the teams could be completely dead by then.
I'd say because it's been a while since the sprinters had a chance, like they don't want to allow that chance to get away from them.
Yeah, it's nip and tuck again.
Okay. Well, any final words around the Giro parcours for 2026?
Nothing much really to add other than it's going to be a good battle between the
Mm.
GC riders, because many of them are not scared of racing Pogacar, but they just want to avoid Pogacar, don't they?
I mean, if you want to have a little bit of an easier time at winning a race, you kind of want to avoid Pogacar at some point. But yeah, for Vingegaard being able to say that he's won all 3 Grand Tours, which is something that Pogacar has not been able to say yet, just give him that little bit of a trump card. But I think, and for Evenepoel, the Tours is not going to happen this year. I think we can all be honest about that. So the Vuelta is probably not going to give him a long time trial. So this is probably his best shot at winning a Grand Tour.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, then that was everything for this Domestique Cycling podcast. If you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe. Earlier this week, Aiden talked to Matteo Jorgensen and Victor Campenas on the Domestique hot seat. I really recommend that you go give that a watch. You can also win a signed Visma bike jersey for that. You just got to go onto that video and comment your favorite vlog episode from those 2 from the past year. I'll already give my favorite, and that was stage 22 of the Tour de France, where you saw Matteo Jorgensen drunk in Paris. That was by far my favorite. So it's probably not the most original. Probably some people have already commented that. And yeah, next week we've got Victor Campenaerts, or actually no, later this week, the episode with Victor Campenaerts is coming out. So stay tuned for that. And then next week we have the world champion. We have Madeleine Valliere from EF Pro Cycling, who had a chat with Aiden. That's coming out next week. Until then, talk to you soon.
Goodbye.